1, 2, 3, 4. This lesson is for those of you who've learned how to play a few chords and can play the 12-bar blues. You might even understand the whole jazz chord progression. But when it comes time to back someone up, say the guitar player who has so generously been backing you up, all you got is this. Hey, which is nothing to sneeze at, right? I mean, this is good. But sometimes it's nicer to have a few other tricks up your sleeve if the person is going to go longer or if your tones are getting in the way of what they're using for their solo. And a great solution for me has been the walking bass line when I'm playing swing, which you just heard. Just gave an example of that. And you're looking at an example right in front of you, just the notes. There's two things you should work on before just jumping into this. One is that I've made my mandolin sound a little different. So I have a different tone than the usual, or even if I were to play one note at a time bass line. This to me turns it into a bass. It makes it sound more thumpy, kind of like a gut bucket bass. So first, let's learn that technique. That's called palm mute, and the palm is not quite what we're using. We're using this edge of our finger right there, like the karate chop part, and usually it sits right below the bridge, this side of it, and all I do is I put it right there, just the other side. And you don't get very far. By the time you get to about there, it deadens your string, and that's not desirable in most situations. So for this gut bucket bass, I tend to have it somewhere pretty close, right about there. You might just play it normal and slightly, gradually, move your flesh right above the bridge. That's like right above, so it's still ringing a little too much for this bass. I move it like millimeter, and it becomes, so it's a spectrum there, but it's a very small area, so I'd get used to that. I would not change the pick too much. You're doing this, it's great, you got a good pick. When the flesh gets there against that string, my pick didn't change shape, or nothing changed. I didn't change the position of my hand. So that's worth getting together. Also, just the walking bass line vocabulary uses passing tones. So when you get to a D on a G chord, for example, and the next note is C, the next chord, is C, if there are eighth notes, or in this case quarter notes, in between, when you've gotten to D but you have one more beat, we fill the space with a chromatic passing tone. That explains the fourth note in this example. And it explains most of the accidentals. That A flat, we had one beat left before we got to the G chord. That's the A flat. Here's that D flat again on the fourth measure. Same A flat again, so same passing tones. Here's one getting from B to E. We have a cool thing about jazz bass. You can always play right before a new chord the half step above that chord name. So B, F is above E, and now A is next. So B flat above A, E flat above D, A flat above D. I did the gamut there. I probably wouldn't do that many in real life, But that is one of the techniques in walking the bass that is probably not intuitive, but sounds really cool. So let's put it together. Let's just first learn the line. And then we'll try the technique just with a G and a D. I guess we have a couple notes on the D string. And when you're feeling like it's a bass and your pick is just working by itself, and if your palm mute technique is good, it should be like magic. You sound. And I'm also, if you notice, putting in the upstrokes. This is a blues shuffle, so long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. That upstroke is the third beat of your triplet too. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So that's your shuffle sound. And I think that's about it. I think we're ready to go here. I'll play through slowly, and you can come on along of exactly what's written there first. And I would put in those eighth notes every time for now. They're an integral part of this groove that your drummer or guitar player would be playing as well. And your soloists would be playing off of these. Sorry, I missed my A minor. Here we are on the last line, walking up. D walks down up to B. So a little clowny there at the end, but it's a good technique to carry over to other tunes. So that's how a triplet can come into this. It's already in there. I missed my A again. So you see, this is an arpeggio practice with passing tones, these bass lines. And palm muting, however, is not complicated at all once you get the technique. And I also use it in a lot of other situations besides imitating bass. It can just be a different sound. It's actually called pizzicato because it sounds a lot like when a violin player plucks. So it's a funny name because we always pluck. So palm mute is what I like to call it, just to let you know the effect. All right, so hope you have a new thing to show off to whoever you back up, and you'll surprise them by suddenly walking the bass, and you might inspire them to play something a little more interesting as well. Thank you.